had two near-death experiences. Am I right?
Yeah.
What are you trying to remember in this life that makes you go through this twice?
Yeah, twice is a message, right? For sure. There's no way to miss it. Yeah, this is profound. I'm glad you asked this question. Nobody asks this question. The message I'm gaining is stop putting so much damn energy into this physical representation, this projection of your spiritual body and brain.
Well, I'm just going to dive in here because your story really spoke to me. And when it came up, the opportunity to hop on here, I'm like, I need to know more. I really need to understand more. More the background as well of where your story coming from, as well being a military veteran and so on. So really excited about this. Leland Holgate Sr., like the toothpaste, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So talk to me here, man. Give me a little bit of background about you. You were raised a military brat, right? Yeah. And naturally you joined the military. Was it always kind of assumed that you were going to do that, or
It is somewhat in my family, because based on what my lineage is showing, I'm the 16th generation. So it was like I would have broke a chain that, you know how it is with families, you don't do that. And I was born and raised in Vicenza, Italy, so I've got that side of me as well before moving over to the States when I was 8. And one of the cool parts, too, get this, it's my dad's spiritual birthday today. He would have been 70. Huge. It hit me this morning. I went through all the beautiful things, the tears, all the beautiful release. I feel him with me. It's been absolutely epic.
Yeah. Wow. No kidding. What branch did you serve in?
I was Air Force. He was Army.
Okay. Got it. What made you go Air Force?
He refused because, here's the thing. So I went through all the childhood, and then by the time I was 17, I got tired of being told what to do. So I joined the military, or wanted to join the military myself, right? Biggest oxymoron ever. But of course, at 17, I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here and go do my own thing. So he, as a Special Forces Ranger, refused to sign the paperwork if I went Army or Marines. So there was the loving dad beneath, the soldier that was chiseled, trying to prevent me from seeing and doing the things that he did. So he signed the papers once I decided to go Air Force. And I knocked the ASVAB in the butt, aced it, and got to pick my job. And funny enough, to his chagrin, he didn't realize what I had done. I got tasked to one of the most operational squadrons in the U.S. military overall, but most definitely in the Air Force. So, yeah.
Where did they have you stationed?
So I was stationed in Arkansas, The Rock. Not too far from you, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Nashville. I grew up in Nashville.
Across to Memphis all the time to get in trouble.
Oh, for sure. Oh, it's a good place to get in trouble. That's for sure. Right.
Yeah.
Quite a lot goes on in Memphis. There's a reason why Elvis was from there. Anyway, so yeah, I ask because I actually lived in Okinawa and did contracting on Kadena Air Base for many years. My wife is Okinawan, so out from Japan. So very familiar with the branches. Worked with them. A lot of friends in all of them. Don't ask me which one's better because I don't want to get involved and deal with that fight. But I always like to ask, what made you choose Air Force versus Marine? That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Well, man, you the willful warrior is such. It probably causes a little bit of cognitive dissonance within people. What you do. And I really want to dive in deeper because I know, from my understanding, you died. Mm-hmm. Is that right? For almost 3 minutes?
3 minutes, 48 seconds. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So walk me through this. And then where I want to go is I want to know more about the personal experience first, but kind of more of the timeline chronologically. And then I want to really go into your personal, side of your experience. I'm really fascinated right now with near-death experiences. Friends of mine have gotten into this. So yeah, willful warrior and your situation. What happened?
Love it. Yeah. So I'll give you like the short leading up to what happened, and then we can open it up as you want. But yeah, joined the military, 17. Immediately was tasked as a C-130 loadmaster because I got to pick what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to sit still. So tasked, went to SEER training, all the specialized training, and went operational. I mean, I deployed pretty much 8 months after I joined. It's unheard of. After that, so of course we can go back and open all these things up, but putting a book in, or an ear in the book there, my last bush or combat area was Yugoslavia, the Kosovo conflict. So when we got back, as you can imagine, we had some steam to blow off. And we decided, well, let's just do something innocuous, right? I even put this in my ebook that I just released recently. Let's do something innocuous, which in turn turned into, hey, who can hold on to this inner tube behind the boat the longest, going the fastest? How fast can we go, and who can hold on the longest? So all of a sudden, this innocuous thing that everybody does on the weekends became some sort of, knuckle dragging, let me prove how big of a man I am type of scenario, because that's who we were. We were used to doing ridiculous. I mean, you give us guns and explosives, and we're doing shit people can't even imagine. So when we come back, of course, we can't do something just low rev. So it was my turn. I get on the inner tube. And as the skips became fewer and fewer and fewer, I automatically tuned into, dude, maybe this isn't a good idea. I was essentially flying behind this thing. And when he cut left, I could see it ahead of time. I didn't even get a chance to, oh shit. None of that. Just, boom. He turns left, I get slung shot off of this thing. And the people on the shore, all the accounts and witness statements say, yeah, I've never seen a body bend like that. It was like a folding chair over and over and over again. Because I just went chin first. So it was like, bop! And that was it. It was black. I was gone.
That is what you want to hear. That's right. It's like a folding chair. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they've never seen a body bend like that.
Right, you're going to be okay, I promise. Well, don't tell him that. We don't know. He might not be. You're like, guys, this is like a comedy movie. Why? Thank you for the sensitivity of my near-death experience, right? Wow. Well, obviously you're extremely cheerful about it at this point.
I mean, look what it did. Look where it led me, right? I'm proof, and this is what I try to convey or share with others and allow them to wear as their own mantle. Like, what if the worst thing that happened to you is the best thing to happen for you? What if that shit opened doors for you that you never even would have seen unless you went through that? And that is definitely that situation.
I don't really ever go into this much depth about it on the podcast because it's not a pity me thing, but I don't wear these for fashion. I don't think I'm Rick Rubin or, branding or anything. I have an eye condition called keratoconus, where I've had multiple surgeries, full cornea transplant in my left eye, multiple experimental surgeries before they were FDA approved. And I feel like from 18 to 22, every year, literally on my birthday, was a different surgery. Now, the reality is it's a degenerative disease, or condition, so it progressively gets worse. Now, we couldn't improve, but we stopped the progression for me. So it was like the greatest birthday gifts I could have ever gotten in so many ways. And I say that because the opportunities that have come when I look back of just going, man, there's so many people that didn't have the opportunity to go through Dr. Boxer-Waller's experimental process, right? And to go through Holcomb C3R and Intacs and all these different procedures. So I just feel blessed that I can even function, that I have my eyes, that I have my vision. It sounds like you really take that to heart in terms of where you're at now, where it brought you. What, typically speaking, when people have a near-death experience similar to that, people describe it as profound, life-changing, right? I think you created the coming home process, right, within breathwork, and I wanna have you go into that a little bit. Why coming home?
Yeah, so it's called the welcome home method because in that moment when I had snapped my neck back And basically what happened is C1, C2 clamped down on the back of my spinal cord. So silver dollar size contusion, everything's off. Heart rate, heart, breath, all of it stopped. And in that moment, I could see everything. There was no white light, there was no tunnel, none of these things the movies, try to put off. There was just is-ness is the best way I could ever describe it. No wants, no needs, no desires, no worries, no nothing. Just pure presence with everything that was happening. Even to the point where I watched them, my buddy had to run up on the jet ski because there I am just floating face down in the water, pulls me out of the water, wears me like a belt, and tears ass towards the shore. I remember all of that. I saw all of that. And then I saw
this is when your heart has stopped?
Yeah.
You were still having this experience
face
dead.
down. I described it all to him, and he was like, "How the hell do you know that?" It's like, dude, I watched you do it.
Wow.
So, yeah, I got to see the whole thing, all the way to the point where he pulls up to the shore and he's screaming at these people, and 7 or 8 dudes come over and they all carry me onto the shore. And no coincidences, of course. I'm sure you don't believe in those either. There's a state trooper right there to get on it and get me going as soon as possible. But the whole time, I'm just watching this. It's like a silent movie without any emotions, without any feelings, without any connection to what's going to happen. Oh, I hope he really gets the heart going. No, it was just pure is-ness, pure peace. And the reason I call it the welcome home method, and we'll get into further where the connection to that came, is because it felt like, you had one of those 12-hour, 14-hour work days, right? We've all pushed through and done one of those. You come home, you sit on the couch, take your boots off, you take your shirt off, you lay back on the couch and go, oh, that's what it felt like on the soul level. Just complete relief and presence all at once. It was just the most undescribable. Words fail. They really do. That's as good as it gets with describing verbally what that experience was like.
When you say you saw this, you were watching this out, excuse me, you mean you were watching this happen and visually, or was it more like an essence? You could how you intuitively feel something, but you're not visually seeing it, but you kind of know what's going. Do you mean it you had the essence of what was going on, or intuitively, a radar versus a movie where you're visibly what do you mean by you were watching it?
Yeah, this is an epic question because again, this is where words approach. They get close, but they fail. Yes, both of them. It was this essence, but not just the essence. I was literally looking over the shoulder of the state trooper as he did this. He didn't do normal chest compressions again, and I described this to my friends in the hospital, and they're like, "Dude, how the hell did you know that?" I'm like, "I watched him do it. It was strange." And the whole time, again, I'm just watching, no, just objective, pure presence, no connection to what's happening whatsoever, just watching this thing happen as if I was the divine or whatever everybody wants to put the word to, just pure presence in that place. So I could feel it intuitively as that essence, but I was also watching it at the same time. So it was I felt everything, but there was no feeling, there was no connection. It's so hard to describe. That's as close as I can get to it.
There's so many things. Same thing if you do psychedelics. You know what I mean? What's it like? And you're like, no, it's like this. And you're like, no, what's it like? And you're like, it's just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's skip these words because you're not going to understand and it won't even matter. And whatever I'm describing to you is either going to bother you, scare you, or completely misconstrue this. So just do it. Do your thing, right? So, and I'm a big believer in psychedelics, but I'm also a big believer in the proper use and not just party mode, right? So then what happens next? You die, you watch this whole thing play out. Yeah.
So watch him do this, and when I said it was strange, it makes sense to me now. But he pops me in the chest with his knuckles right over the heart and just does this xylophone motion. And it was to the point where he's caving my chest in and going, "Drr, drr, 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 drr," which obviously got my heart started, or else I'd not be having this conversation with you. And I come slamming into my body. It was like, I can't describe this either. It was hard to describe, because without the feeling in my body, it felt like somebody body slammed me right back into my physical being. And my eyes jolt open, and I'm in the ambulance, and it feels like I'm flashbanged. All I can hear are like the Peanuts, Charlie Brown adults, wah, 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 and everything's still kind of spinning. Literally felt like I had been flashbanged, like a concussion grenade. And when I finally came to, I've got this EMT you're hearing, the beeps, the chaos going all around, of course. I've got this horse collar on my neck. Just extreme pain at the back of my occipital lobe, the very base of, the back of your skull there. And then you got this guy, Holgate, calling my name, just trying to bring me back to the moment, and he's asking me if I can feel that. And when I finally come to and recognize what the hell he's asking me, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And he says, oh no. Something you never want to hear from your pilot, EMT, or doctor. You don't want to hear that. Like, obviously, dude, I don't know, off day or whatever, but his oh no, my eyes shoot open, and I'm like, what do you mean oh no? I've already got this thing around my neck. I feel like a prisoner in this thing. And then that's when the sheer desperation and fear kicked in, because I noticed, why is it hard to swallow? Why does it feel like there's an elephant on my chest? It's really hard to breathe. Holy fuck, where are my arms? Where are my legs? What is happening right now? That's when I tuned into the fact that I can't feel anything below my Adam's apple right now. It's hard to swallow. It's hard to breathe. It's hard to do anything. So here I am now. I'm just freaking out, like, what's going on? Asking all these different questions. And of course, they got to calm me down. Because I don't know if you've been to this. It's, one state over, but Heber Springs, Greer's Ferry Lake in Arkansas. Okay.
No.
Well, it's like an hour and a half from Little Rock General. So that was, oh my God, you can only imagine. I was a prisoner in my own body. Like, there's nowhere to go for an hour and a half. So I'm just freaking out. Shy of my 20th birthday, right? Almost 3 years in the military of doing Jedi shit. And now I'm stuck in this useless tub of goo that's now tied into the ambulance. I'm just a talking head,
So then you became paralyzed.
Yeah, I was paralyzed from the neck down. The moment I woke up in the ambulance, I couldn't feel anything. And once we got to the hospital, they confirmed everything with the MRIs and CAT scans and everything else they were doing. Silver dollar size contusion right on the back side of the spinal column, which, if nobody knows what that is the direct connection to your brain stem, breathing, heart rate, blood pressure, signals to your limbs, all completely shut off.
So then what was that? If you're thinking back now, it sounds like you went from total bliss to total panic.
Yeah.
Right, where I guess your reptilian brain took back over when you came shooting back into your body. What did that teach you in terms of control? Because it was the same situation. It sounds like you were having, relatively speaking, the same experience, other than the pain that you were able to feel. And then once that came, you went into reptilian fight or flight.
Yeah.
So what did that teach you about situations?
It's funny you ask that, because retrospectively, now when I look back on that situation, it reminds me of what I teach people today. There's really only one thing you can ever control. You're not going to control this thing. Stop it. Quit trying. You're not going to control this thing. Stop it. Quit trying. This you can control. Of course, if there's some sort of injury or whatever else where you have to be on a respirator, you can't control it. But, that's a very small part of the population. The one thing you can ever control in this entire existence is your breath. And that's what that taught me. It was through all of it. And it took a lot to sift through that and find that message for myself, because, of course, the woe is me Leland laying in the hospital bed didn't really think of that at that point in time. But looking back, that's definitely the one message I pulled out of that. Like, wow, okay. This whole control thing that we have in our minds is an illusion. There's one thing we can control, and it is the breath.
So I'm fascinated by this idea. I just had a conversation with somebody that had some serious childhood trauma. Even for people that have had childhood trauma, it's pretty serious. And I was asking him this too, and I'm very curious from your perspective. There's a fork in the road, and there's the pity me side, and then the what am I going to do about this side? What do you think drew you to the what am I going to do about this side?
Allowing myself to fully process the shit sandwich that I just took a bite out of. And I think that's what I've learned moving through this existence, and what I help people to recognize as well. We naturally want to suppress, repress, silence down. Oh, I don't want to deal with this. That's ugly. That doesn't feel good type of thing. I let myself go full dark side. Woe is me, blah, blah, all the way to the point where I was asking friends to kill me. It's like, don't make me come back and bite you on the ankles as a ghost. I will haunt you if you don't. Like, get rid of, I don't want to be this. This is not going to be my life. So the fact that I allowed myself to dive in deeply and allow that emotional baggage to actually express itself was the only reason I found the now what.
What was the now what for you? Like, what was the answer to that?
Yeah, so the now what for me was I am not out of the game. 3 strikes, you're never out. And this is something they teach us in SEER training. So isn't it funny that military training, the Master Jedi training they put us through, is what hit me in about that 3rd day. And it just kept on revolving. There's always one more thing you can do. Resist. Fight. You're not forgotten. We're coming for you. Fight, fight, fight. You're not done.
SEER, search, evasion, and rescue.
Yeah, so it's survival, evasion, resistance, and escape.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
My brother went through that as well as a pilot.
Yeah.
So, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that all of that was kicking in, right? We're coming for you. You're not forgotten. 3 strikes, you're not out. Keep fighting. Keep going. Keep resisting. And all of that just kept spinning to the point where finally, while the doctor's doing his managing life expectations speech, and this is 1999, I'm a neuroscientist now, and we're still just scratching the surface of what we know. Everybody thinks they hear neuroscientist, neurologist, or neurosurgeon, and you think, oh, this guy knows everything about that. What you don't know is 70 to 80% of neuroscience is still theoretical. We're still figuring stuff out. We just figured out in 2012, for instance, that we have what's called the glymphatic system. We didn't know that until 2012, that you actually have a lymph system built into your brain, a drainage ditch. So just hearing this guy in 1999 tell me, of course, nothing you could do, can't heal spinal tissue, what you're born with, you're stuck with, blah, blah, blah. This is, pre-neuroplasticity being accepted widely. And just hearing him tell me what I was not ever going to do again. And then that story from SEER running was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And in that moment when I just looked over at the doctor and said, absolutely fucking not, and just cut him off in the middle of one of his speeches, boom. I got a little rush down the scalenes, just a little neural signal fire that went just to the edge. It was very, very teeny, but profound, because here's this dude here with a white coat on who's an authority, and I'm shy of my 20th birthday, so I believe everything he says, telling me what's not possible, and then it just happened. Like, ha, you don't know as much as you think you do, Doc. Scoot along.
What do you think the holdup is on all this disputes? Like, they like Tony Robbins teaches people for 40 years on body movements that affect your neuroplasticity, affect your chemistry, and then like they do a research study at Stanford, whatever university research that they want, and then they find out like people with certain postures increase risk taking, increase like confidence. And he's like, I've been teaching this for 40 years and now I have the science to prove. What is the holdup on this? It is not the lack of studies. I don't buy that. I just don't. Right. Yeah. Even like the growth mindset is a beautiful book about neuroplasticity and how to adopt that, like both in your own life as well as like changing your brain. But then you have people like Bob Proctor's and they've like been talking about this for so many years. What is the holdup in your perspective now that you're in the sausage making in school in research?
I love that you said it that way. Yeah, it's all the way to your point, all the way to Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill, and all these guys were talking about this stuff like 5, 6 decades ago, man. It's because based on what I feel, the way I feel about it is we have given away our power to a system that has unfortunately made us lazy. It's not so much, yeah, there's all these conversations we could have about society, what's happening, who's right, who's wrong, blah, 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 blah. The fact is, we gave away a lot of our power, security, and control for ease and all these other things. So thereby, that means we also gave away a lot of our faith, and not faith in the religious sense, neuroplastic faith. That's literally what happened in that moment, was I had neuroplastic faith to know my body knew what to do. Everything is going to reform. Something here is going to happen after that experience. So I think one of the things, to your point, is we have, especially in this version of our modern era, we rely way too, and this coming from a neuroscientist, y'all, we rely way too heavily on the science. Stop it. I'm a scientist. Believe more in what you feel here, not what that doctor in the white coat is telling you. I'm sure you heard some pretty damn horrible prognosis or possibilities moving forward in your life, and then because of your belief, because of your faith, boom. Like you said, you were probably a percentage of a percentage of a percentage that was even able to experience, that experimental surgery type thing. And that was all driven because what you decided was possible.
And well, not to mention, I had doctors arguing with doctors.
Boom. So you
Right?
had proof in the pudding, right? You had proof yourself going, hold on a minute. If I only would have listened to you, I would have thought you were the authority. Now I hear another you, and he doesn't agree. So, okay.
Correct.
Maybe I should think differently about this.
Yeah, and I went to multiple specialists, and they did multiple different things, pushed me through different diagnoses. Literally, the ones that ultimately realized something bigger is going on here that I can't help you with. You need to look into this, and wrote it down, was a Walmart Vision Center. I'm not joking. After multiple specialists. Then the Walmart Vision specialist was like, something more is happening here. This isn't dry eye syndrome. This isn't like you need to go look into this. And then we found a new specialist and said, like, what is going on? There is something. Tell me what it is. And then they found it. Right. But doctors argue with doctors. So in terms of authority, yes, I get that. What is the balance of being a scientist as well as following your heart? Because you got to be data driven to a degree. Right, or not to a degree, but like in many ways. But at the same time, I kind of want to, before I even go there, actually, I want to ask this because you had a pop, you said, and it was like, you don't know what you think. Like, what was that? Because it doesn't sound like you came up with that. It sounds like it came to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Divine intervention, whatever anybody wants to call it, whatever verbiage speaks to you, literally, lightning bolt from source, like boom, you decided. It's the whole, when the student is truly ready, the teacher shall then appear. You're not going to be able to find the teacher until you open the space, create that possibility. And that's what happened, because in that moment when I told him absolutely effing not, that right there had like shot out that vibration, not just the thought that whoa, there's much more than you're telling me is possible. And boom, that moment was able to come in.
What do you think is possible now?
Absolutely everything. It's things that, as a scientist, I would probably be laughed out of the scientific community, and I would most definitely be laughed at by University of Florida neuroscience department. My folks, they would laugh at me at a certain point, hearing that and taking it as far as I would take it. But absolutely anything is possible. Are you kidding me? And that's what neuroscience continues to prove to me. Like I said, 70 to 80% of it's still theoretical. We're still figuring out the substantia nigra, which is, one of the areas affected by Parkinson's disease, and all of these different things that we're still figuring out, the microtubules that vibrate and bring in experience versus just the electrochemical signaling that's happening. And so again, don't let these scientists fool you into thinking they got it figured out. Case in point, 1999, when I broke my neck, neuroplasticity would have got me laughed out of the hospital. They literally did not accept that whatsoever. 2012, we find out we have a lymph system in our brain. So for me, that and following the science as a scientist reminds me to stay humble. Do not declare something as I know because I'm a scientist and I've made science my God, like most of these unfortunate colleagues of mine have done. Because it closes you off. It really does. It collapses possibilities and puts you into a finite box. As far as I'm concerned, as a future neurochemist, anything is absolutely possible. When you look at what this thing can do, and I break it down to the molecular level for people, proof in the pudding is what you've got going on inside of you right now.
Break it down for me in a molecular level.
Yeah, so let's go to the fact that you have 86, now we're thinking 90 to 95 billion neurons inside of you. You have well over 100 billion synapses. That's the connections, that space between the neurons, right? For those of you that don't know what that is. Then from there, each one neuron can make 10,000 or more connections to other neurons. Just do the math on that right now. You will break your calculator, even on your phone, trying to do 100 billion squared. You know what I mean? If you've got 100 billion synapses firing off multiple times through the day, almost, 90 something billion neurons, and each one of those 90 billion neurons can make a separate connection to 10,000 plus different neurons. Like, oh my God, it hurts my brain to even try to compute the possibilities of new neural pathways that we now know absolutely are created during psychedelics, breath work, meditation, remyelination of demyelinated nerves, which was impossible back in the 90s. Myelin is the protective coating over your nerves. Think of like
the myelin sheaths?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Think of a wire, that plastic coating over it, that's myelin. So at certain points inside of your nerve or on the axon of the nerve for certain nerves, it has that myelin sheath, which is protective. So what does that do? It creates efficiency, speed. It allows it to, especially the ones that you constantly repeat, the body knows that needs to be an automatic process. So it gives myelin to it so that it can be uninterrupted. Boom. And just get there a lot faster, more efficient.
So it's not just creating new pathways. You're talking about, you said demyelin and which means like certain pathways on command, not now on command, but over time on command with repetition will actually gain the myelin sheath as well, as in it becomes more and more subconscious and automatic. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. And I invite anyone to go on YouTube and just type in the growth of a neural network and watch what's happening inside of your body. That is happening. Every time you create a new thought, every time you wire in a new belief, neurons and dendrites are connecting together and these new neural pathways, these new highways are created. We see it again in psychedelics, breath work, all these different things that we're literally watching these things connect. And then not only do they connect, but there's a certain cycle that nerves move through as far as creating those pathways, which is about 20 to 23 days. And within about 2 to 3 cycles, that's when your body starts to produce that myelin. The Schwann cells kick up and they start myelinating that because they realize, hey, he keeps thinking
this
that.
Is
Let's
important.
Make sure that highway has an express lane.
That's crazy to me because the myelin sheath from what I remember growing up, and kind of reading is it's more about like the pain, like you stub your toe, you get that first, but you don't really feel the pain yet, and that's because like it went through the myelin, told your brain faster, this is hurting, and then the pain actually kicks in afterward. That was my understanding of what it is. I didn't really piece that together for like in terms of learning and repetitious behavior. So So what I'm picturing in my mind is the two nerves. You get a new neural connection. You have a new opportunity, a new experience, right? Whatever it is, it builds that connection, and then as it builds, or you try to build a new habit, right? And you get those, and then over time, that becomes more internalized. Now you have the myelin sheath that gets developed on there, and then it settles into your subconscious mind. And this is where it goes into the power of repetition.
Exactly.
Being a thing. I didn't piece it together in that way.
It's
That's
cool
wild.
you had that piece, though, because not a lot of people know about the nociceptors. And the nociceptors are the things that say, ooh, back away from that. That hurt a little bit. And those are definitely myelinated pathways that allow the traveling up the motor pathways and everything else to tell the body, hey, take weight off of that thing. That hurts. Don't do that shit again.
Yeah, and it's mostly subconscious. You put your hand on a stove, your brain can't wait for the realization, oh, this hurts. It's, whoa, it's subconscious.
And your hand comes off. There's your myelinated nociceptors telling nerve pathways, hey, back off.
And then it hurts afterward. There's a delay, because then the rest of the chemical reaction, right, catches up. But I never realized that in terms of like a process for developing of a habit. The process of developing a new skill, that it would be nylon, or you said myelin, sorry. So myelin. The sheath would be created around it, which would make it more repetitious or more automatic. That to me makes so much sense, but I never pieced that together, right? For you though, then, like, what did this do? Because you had this reaction, this visceral reaction downloaded of like, you're wrong, I'm gonna prove you wrong, don't care, I'm not, it's not a, here's what I'm noticing. It's not up for debate. This isn't like a suggestion. This isn't a maybe. This is absolute, in Tony's words, absolute resolve.
Yeah.
Like that just came to you like, no. And I just got goosebumps. There is no other option, right? So then what do you do then?
Yeah, so from there, of course, it's easy to kind of fall back into the, yeah, but I don't know. That's okay. In that moment, I realized, because of all the training I had been through, you don't need to know. What you do need to remember, know, and continue to revolve as a belief is that something else is possible than you were told. So just keep holding on to that. And because I held on to that neuroplastic faith once again, as the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. Within hours, I meet my physical therapist, who just happens to be an Ashtanga yogi. Oh, the coincidence abounds.
I love it. And then you dive in then.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. And you can imagine, too, this guy walks in, and that was the other part for me, too. This is 1999 in a medical field in the military that was predominantly 89 to 93% female. I get the one male physical therapist who also happens to be a yogi. Like, do the calculations on that probability for me, and again, it'll break your brain. So as he walks into the room, he's telling me, yeah, we're going to do the typical physiotherapy. We're going to move limbs. We're going to get things going again, stretch muscle tissues, and break open fascia that's starting to set in like cement because you're laying still. But I want to do something different with you that I do with my clients. And I'm like, dude, what? I've been waiting for the magic. And he looks at me and says, we're going to practice yoga. All right, now you pissed me off. And he could see the change in my face. I was like, that's funny. In the military, we prank each other constantly. It's what we do. It's like a college fraternity. We're constantly taping people to the door when they pass out at a party and, just weird stuff, right? So I, in my mind, was like, if I could move my legs right now, I'd kick you in the throat, Doc. Wait, who told you to do that? Who was that? Was that Tony? Was that Jimmy? Who told you to come in here and say that shit? That is not funny, but it's funny. And I noticed his face didn't change. He gave a little chuckle. He wasn't offended. He just sat with what I had said. And I immediately was like, oh, you're fucking serious. How am I going to do yoga, bro? Did you not read my chart? Did you not get, the heads up from the docs, what's going on my prognosis? And he goes, no, absolutely. But the problem is you think yoga is what you've seen on the Lululemon magazines, the hot 20-year-old in frickin' yoga pants standing in Warrior 2. Like, that's 5% of yoga, man. The West has made yoga something yoga was never meant to be, all about
It's
the
a
physical
workout.
asanas. Yeah, exactly. So that was when he imparted on me that 95% of yoga is pranayama, the control of the prana, life force, and yama, the breath, and work with the internal self and mindset to actually activate your Merkaba body. Of course, that may be a little too woo-woo for people, but your energetic self, right? You are an energetic being. We now know as scientists, there is a field that extends 3 to 5 feet outside of you, potentially more. So that's your yoga, and that's what
One of my favorite quotes about that field is, "Why 3 to 5 feet? Because that's as far as our measurements allow us to
Boom.
take. That's our
I love what you
technology's
said.
problem."
That's a air dab.
Right.
I tell people the same thing.
Yeah, that's our technology's problem. It'll almost certainly get larger and larger as our technology gets more and more precise. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, but
No, you're good. You're good.
So
That was a good addition.
yeah, so they're diving in and they're like, "You're going to learn real yoga."
Yeah. So that was his thing, right? And this is well before Wim Hof. I know Wim Hof made it world famous. What he teaches is something called tumo breathing. And not to poo-poo on his way, by the way, please don't go get started on Wim Hof method. I've had to pull so many people off of it because it's excitatory.
I'm telling them. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's excitatory. It's good. It is. It's great. It's just if you're in a position where you're already overstimulated, you're already activated, somebody that has epilepsy, all these other things, you do not want to go do that. That's what we call a tumo style of breath. Also, in yoga, they call it Bhastrika. So it's the cyclic hyperventilation on purpose, breathing to change and increase oxygen flow, create vasoconstriction temporarily by pushing out carbon dioxide to get the body to turn on these very specific protein markers and epigenetic changes that can only be activated when you move into that type of breath. And I had no idea. I'm, like I said, just shy of my 20th birthday. I didn't know what the hell yoga was. So I followed his lead. And I went through, it was about 30 to 35 breaths, which is typically what one round is of tumo or Bhastrika breathing. And then he took me into my first kumbhaka. And kumbhaka is a hold. It's a sacred hold inside of yoga, right? It's finding the balance in the center, not holding too high, not holding too low. Even when you inhale and hold, I have people swallow and bring that pressure here so it's not pumping into your head, because that's already going to happen anyways. But when he took me through that first round and told me, breathe in, hold your breath, and I breathed in, I held my breath, boom, I was back in that place. I was out of my body. I was just, I obviously knocked out. It caused a neurological reset, which is completely normal in most anybody. I've had that happen to me, even not in the bed. But yeah, that was when I was hooked, because after he gave me that experience and it popped me back into that welcome home space, all I could utter was one word. I was like a 5-year-old. I looked at him wide eyes and was like, again. And I let him lead me through my second round. And on that second round, he had me inhale, hold, and then exhale, hold. And then all of a sudden, just little pins and needles right at the top, just under the collarbone. Not too big, teeny tiny, barely noticeable, but noticeable to somebody who's lost all their feeling. And again, that was it. I dug in like a frickin' tick after that. I'm talking, I was breathing so much, I would flatline the machines and they'd go blue and come rushing in with paddles and, of course, shake me open. And I'm like, oh, man, oh, God, what do you guys want? So eventually they understood. Go check on him, but don't touch him when you see the machine flatline. He's doing these breath things, which changes absolutely everything in the body. So yeah, I dug in like a tick after that, man.
What's the difference between what you're describing now and like Kundalini breath work?
Yeah, so Kundalini describes the energy itself. So Kundalini breath work, I teach. A lot of the aspects of Kundalini are in the Welcome Home method. That's the great thing about the Welcome Home method. Again, I never poo-poo on anybody's style out there. But the problem is they have one piece of the pie and they're marketing it to people like it's the whole pie. I have created the Welcome Home method to invite all of the breath types, from Qigong, from yoga, from even before that when you read some of the Gnostic texts and some of the Rosicrucian stuff and everything else. They knew these things thousands and thousands of years ago, and they knew that they could shift the body. So for me, with Kundalini, that's literally taking that energy, because as your cerebral spinal fluid flows up and down, there's very specific neuroendocrine center processes that happen down here at the base of your spine. Oil is added into that cerebral spinal fluid. It becomes very, very thick. Well, not thick, that's a horrible word, but extra. There's more that happens when it sits down in that bottom place, right? So as you can breathe, and sometimes we do the clenching, like, I learned it before Dr. Joe, but Dr. Joe was the one that heightened that for me and brought that more into my awareness. But as you're doing the breath and also clenching those bathroom muscles, you can literally elevate what they call the Kundalini energy, that real you, that Merkaba body, up to the top and get yourself, holy crap, the same experience that I got, right? That was literally what happened. I elevated my Kundalini and boom, I was out of my body.
Yeah, I think when I've done Dr. Joe's breath work, I was really struggling with it for a long time. Not struggling with like kind of the motion, but like having an experience, was I doing it wrong? Am I doing it right? And then I got a little bit of a breakthrough, for lack of better words here, where like I realized what I would do when I pushed my chest out. Then it was like kind of you get to the end and then you hold it, right? And sometimes he'll have you pump or press, right? But no matter what I would do, it's like I just wasn't able to kind of get it past it's like people say I was living from my neck up or my stomach down, like they're missing that center. Like I just couldn't get it past that. And then there was this moment where I grabbed my knees and kind of pulled my knees up. And when I did that, it pushed my chest out. And the moment that I did that, it was like, boom, got it. I actually passed out from the experience. And I was like, that's it. All right, let me see. Was that a one-off? Let me do this. And then I like started doing this again. And I was like, oh, that's the thing. This is the thing. And I kind of developed that and did that. It's funny, though, because breath work is like that one part of Dr. Joe that, like, no matter where I go in the world, no matter who I talk to about it, it's like that little thing that everybody kind of procrastinates a little bit on. They're like, I love Dr. Joe's work. But, man, when I have, like, a bunch of his meditations. So, what I'll do sometimes is I'll just, like, which one do I need to do now? And just kind of, like, talk to myself and kind of do which one I'm feeling. And you get the one with the breath work in the morning and you're like, nah, I'm wrong. Not that one. We're going to do that other one. You know what I mean? And you kind of like push it off. And everybody I talk to in the world kind of does the same thing. What is it about breath work that makes you think that like this is the thing?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that, because I notice it for anyone, right? We look at breath work as a wellness trend. Like, no, bro. It's literally you can go without water for 4 to 5 days. You can go without food for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You can't go without breath for longer than about 5 to 6 minutes before you got some problems. Like, you're no longer going to be here on this physical plane. So we have classified it as a wellness trend. And I know the resistance you're talking about, because I, even as a breath practitioner, experience that occasionally too. And then I have to remind myself, that's just the program that has been put in there, that it can't be that easy. It can't be that simple. It's got to be something harder. Therefore, let me go for the harder thing instead of the easy thing that's free, available to me at every point through the day, and can only take 1 to 5 minutes to completely shift my state. So it's a funny part of that program that's been put into us from society. It's got to be hard. Work hard to get what you want. Yeah.
Got it. No, I'm like, that's a big thing for me, because I just feel like, I don't know what it is. Like, I have my phone on airplane mode most of the time. I swear, I'm getting hit up by like 58 different people right now. And I'm like, leave me alone. I'll call you later. Sorry about that. It's a big pet peeve of mine. That being said, though, it really is one of those things that you kind of like, oh man, I really don't want to work hard right now. I really don't want to do the physical strain of this. And then you experience it and you're like, now I get it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now
It's
I
like
get
the
it.
workout, right? You fight yourself, then you finally get your butt off the couch. You go to the gym, you do the workout, you get done, and what's the first thing you say? Oh, I'm so glad I did that. I feel great right now.
I feel so good. I might even need to eat a cheat meal. No, just kidding. So you have this experience. You start diving into the work. Really start to explore the mind. Here, you had two near-death experiences. Am I right?
Yeah.
What like what? Before I dive into that one, what lesson do you feel you were being told, or what are you trying to remember in this life that makes you go through this twice? Once is so strong.
This is
Twice.
Yeah, twice is a message, right? For sure. There's no way to miss it. Yeah, this is profound. I'm glad you asked this question. Nobody asks this question. The message I'm gaining is stop putting so much damn energy into this physical representation, this projection of your spiritual body and brain. As a neuroscientist, I know that what I'm experiencing is not a streaming video. That's a hallucination of my brain parts and mind and everything else. Neurochemical signaling creating this streaming video. So those two messages landed really, really hard for me right around 2016, 10 years ago, actually. Today's Dad's birthday, and 10 years ago we lost him. But that is what really hit me in that moment was, okay, there's two times that you've been taken out of this place. Absolutely 1,000% sure now that it continues to remind me, look in here, stop it with looking out there. You're not going to find the answer out there.
So what does that look like? When you say like looking inward, what does that look like?
Sometimes it's ugly, it's hard, it's a disaster. We don't want to look at some of the things that might have happened to us in childhood or other experiences, or even things that we've done that we're ashamed of. And that's what the work is allowing yourself to be okay with that. One of the biggest pieces of my work is allowing people to remove the taboo label from whatever is coming up within you, whatever you went through. It must be expressed, it must be allowed to run its course, or it is going to get stuck in you, and it will become an ever-evolving program that runs with you forever if you do not manage it, if you do not allow it the attention it's asking for.
How do you do that?
Stillness. Stillness, stillness, stillness. The two words I use on a constant basis. On top of everything, I'm also a HeartMath certified trainer. And we teach people about awareness. Awareness is the magic of the universe. Observation and awareness creates choice points. It allows you to notice what you're experiencing, feeling, or going through, find that stillness, bring that awareness in, and then you can take aligned action versus knee-jerk reactions, and I'm just stuck to whatever program is running me down that way to numb, silence, or repress.
So stillness, silence, just being present.
Yeah.
Is there a method you use or a technique you use in order to get you? I call it like whenever I do Dr. Joe's meditations, me and my wife always say like I'm going into the zone. Like,
I love it.
Are you going into the zone this morning? Like whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's my thing. That's our thing. Is there a method that you have to kind of get into the zone?
Yeah, there's a lot of cross and similarities between my work and Dr. Joe's work because he is on the board for HeartMath. So a lot of what you experience in the beginning of his, if you just pay attention to his verbiage in the beginning of his meditations, he's leading you through heart-focused breathing, heart-centered breathing. Come into your heart, even inhales and exhales. Just allow yourself to soften. Be here. Let go of anything else. All of that is something that can magically shift everything that you're experiencing within 60 to 180 seconds. Just something so quick and allowing yourself to fix the rhythm of your breath. And now as a neuroscientist, I've gotten to connect more of those dots to understand, because I was always the kid taking dad's drill apart. I know it works, but why? So now understanding through neuroscience, inhales are the gas pedal. Exhales are the brake pedal. So if we can breathe a very nice, even stimulation, It's like a rubber band, right? There's no balance. I can't stand when people say balance your nervous system. That's not a thing. We have a gas pedal and a brake pedal. You must attenuate and modulate. So if you look at a rubber band, as I inhale, it pulls on the sympathetic side. That's the gas pedal. If I pull on the bottom, the exhale, that's the parasympathetic, the brake pedal. Well, since that is a rubber band, I can either A, be super up here and be all activated, or I can be down here and super brake pedal, or I can be right in the center and allow the heart brain to actually come on board. Yes, I said that to all of you listening. You have a brain on your heart, and it is brain number 1. This is brain number 2. So when you can allow that even heart rhythm and breath rhythm, you literally fall into what we call coherence.
So I've heard this term a lot. I even know they're starting to develop the heart coherence technology to kind of feel this and to see how this is actually playing out, like physiologically, magnetically, right? But what is heart coherence?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Coherence, the best way to describe it is order, patterns, the optimal state in which the body is in sync. So basically your immune function, your heart rhythms, everything in your body is coordinated and in sync, allowed to run as it should, allowed to run as it was built. So when you allow yourself to move into those coherent sine waves, what we notice is a very ordered, very patterned, nice and even sine wave versus the when you're incoherent and you're activated, and deep highs with deep lows. Allowing yourself to fall into that coherent state, again, brings on that optimal, coordinated, and synchronized effort of every system and function in your body.
So then when I hear that, what they're saying is, instead of having, like, you picture like a functional MRI, and you see, like, it looks almost like fireworks, like kind of like, right, the lines of the neuroplasticity or the neuroactivity. What you're talking about is it becomes more of a pattern. It becomes more of a direct, okay. Kind
more
of like
of a
the
sine
sound
wave. Yeah, for those that are physics nerds and understand that.
Okay, so that's when people say, like, heart coherence, that's what they mean. Between your heart and your mind, the connection, the actual physiological connection becomes more orderly and pattern driven.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where we also now know for a fact 80 to 90% of the signals go afferent. They're afferent. They go upward to the brain, not the other way. Only 10 to 20% at the most goes down to the heart. So through that vagal nerve, that 10th cranial nerve, the aortic plexus connects up to the brain. And when you can create coherence in the heart rhythms, it entrains the brain, its first mate. So you come into coherence here, what do you know? The brain comes into a more coherent, entrained pattern.
What could someone do to get into heart coherence?
Dude, you could do it like right now, 60 seconds, literally 60 seconds. And for some people, if you're overstimulated, worried about the external world, you don't even have to close your eyes for this practice. 60 to 120 seconds of just allowing yourself to maybe just focus on one place on the wall, and then immediately just start to imagine like you have nostrils over your heart. And start breathing in and out of your heart or chest area, slower and deeper, about 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, and just allowing that to be your rhythm, to be your focus. The mind's going to try to squirrel, and just back to the breath. In slow, out slow. So it is that simple. The key is it's more of a chest breath. We're used to the diaphragmatic breathing like I teach. That's a piece. But for heart-focused breathing, it's meant to be breathed through your heart, because that way you don't have to worry about all the other, physiological functions and things that can be a little bit more of having to focus on it, right? I have to focus to do a belly breath. For a chest breath, all I got to do is just breathe in and out of the heart. Nice and slow, a little deeper, a little slower. And boom, within about 60 to 90 seconds, you find yourself in coherence.
Wow, so it's very practical and very easy to do, easy to replicate is what I'm hearing there.
Yeah, you can do it when you're driving. Do it in the meeting when your boss said the thing to piss you off because you know he did it on purpose. You can use it when people don't even know you're using it.
So it's more than just near-death experiences. This is useful in everyday life too. Is that what I'm hearing, Leland?
Oh my God, yeah. If you look at every system in your body, your breath is the one system that is both automatic and able to be controlled. No other system in your body can do that. That right there tells you where our focus should be. I can't talk to my heart and go, hey, calm down, man, chill out. I can't do that. I have to go to my breath to do that. I can't tell my brain to shut up. I have to go to my breath to do that. I can't tell my digestive tract, hey, I need you to do a little extra work because I can still feel some things in there. No, I got to turn on the gut brain by getting into my breath.
Right. And that I think where Wim Hof's data is super valuable. Being able to control your autonomic nervous system at will, right, becomes beyond speculation, I think is the key. Because that's what I was asking you earlier. Like, what is the holdup on this? Like, there's a holdup.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is beyond speculation at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And it's two-ply as far as I'm concerned. Again, you've got a lot of society that's still, 70, 80% based on chronic illness and everything else that's been reported by the CDC. Easily 70, 80% of people have made science their god. And unless their doctor tells them, or unless their psychologist tells them, or unless the neuroscientist tells them, they're not even going to think about exploring it. Right.
But this is kind of my whole point here, is the science is irrefutable. It is beyond speculation at this point.
True.
So what is the holdup?
It's people still think it's fringe when we actually have, to your point, we have Dr. Gordon Mitchell, my tenured professor at the neuroscience department in University of Florida, a god in the space of respiratory neuroplasticity. I mean, the guy has done paper after paper after paper of the increase of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is the protein that created your brain and spinal tissue. So many different things. We have papers, trackable evidence, like actual measurable evidence out there. It's just, I think, the focus is still on what can I do? What can I force? What do? What can I do? And that's where the book I'm writing right now and what the Welcome Home Method is based off of is from doing to being. We're a society of doing. So unfortunately, overall, we all haven't realized, like, dude, it's right there in front of your face, right? You can't see the forest for the trees. It's right there. And I think that's what I'm excited about and honored to be able to bring this out to the world, because one of the things, while Wim Hof is amazing, he's not a scientist. So psychologically, subconsciously, you're going to close him off and go, okay, yeah, he's just a freak. He's a weirdo. He does all these things like he's a crazy man. Like, yeah, he absolutely is. But he's spot on with what he's trying to tell you you can do with your breath. So I think that's one of the pieces I am, again, honored to bring forward is let me put on my white coat and woo-woo speak with you as well, because I do a whole science meets soul thing, right? Not east or west. It's both. They both belong together. And in that way, I'm noticing I even have neurosurgeons now. I have neurologists. I have some of my own colleagues coming in and doing my breath work and them sending me their clients and patients because they know. They already know what the breath can do, but they also know, like, there's only so much I can do about cutting or giving you a pill. You should go talk to this other guy that I know.
Right. So are you seeing a shift?
Yeah.
You're seeing the zeitgeist change?
It's happening. Yeah, I'm watching it happen over the past 5 years. Woo! I just got a well up of emotions. Like, wow. Yeah, it's been happening for the past 5 years, and it's gorgeous.
Do you think it's exponential?
It's definitely exponential. You know, the abounding of numbers, just like compounding inside of math and physics, it's happening right now. I mean, technically, we've been alive, the Willful Warrior, for 5 years. We've operationally been really putting it out there for 1.5 to 2 years. You know, I've been working through things as I do as a scientist, allow myself to put it out there, let other people try it, and then evolve, shift, change. So 1.5 to 2 years, we're in 60 countries with tens of thousands of people doing the breath work now. It is definitely exponential. I started with 70 people.
Right. Right.
It's happening. It's definitely. And seeing the doctors, like I said, like, this is crazy. I've got physicians coming on board with this now. This is epic.
Right. No kidding. And it all started from these near-death experiences. We talked about that second one. What happened? I think was it a car accident?
So there was the car accident, but that one actually didn't create that near-death experience. It was I was poisoned. So that's a whole.
Say again?
I was poisoned.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And this is where, man, I don't think I'll get in trouble from this, but I was speaking up a little too much about certain things on the other side of what I used to do, what I've seen, what I know. And oddly enough, I was out drinking with a friend of mine, right? And we'd just gotten there, and I don't even want to say where he came from because he wasn't part of the U.S. military. Let's just say he's one of our allies, and that's what we do. The CIA does that as well. They hire contract people from out of the country to come do their dirty work type thing. So anyways, I was saying too much, and there we are at this bar, and this guy walks up to me out of nowhere, like, poof, target acquired, walks right up to me, starts talking to me, and then flashes me his military ID card from the country he's from. And I was like, that's weird. We don't usually just identify ourselves to people. And at that point, we had been there for maybe 20 minutes. So there was no coincidences whatsoever. Next thing you know, I take a shot that he bought me. I didn't connect dots. He bought me a shot. I took the shot. I walk over to where my friend is at the table. Within 5 minutes, my friend was pulling me outside of the bar because I'm vomiting blood and basically passing out. He gets me to the hospital, and thankfully he got me there in time. They actually had to pop me with epinephrine and paddles just to bring me back. And then when I came to, I got the whole breakdown of, oh yeah, we found heroin and this and that. Like, okay, all right, oh my goodness. So yeah, that was the second one. It was a very, very interesting one. That one's kind of on the fringe from everything that I do, but that was the second one. It was another piece of the story that kind of woke me up anyways, because I wasn't exactly on the healthy side of things. I was drinking a lot, taking, not doing the drugs they said they found in my system, but I was definitely doing some of the hard ones.
Right, no kidding. So then you feel like this was an assassination attempt?
Yeah, look at everything that's happening today. How many scientists have disappeared after they came out and said something about NASA, said something about this, said something about that, and then all of a sudden 16 scientists are gone in 6 months? Like, yeah, that's a coincidence.
Right. And
they do not like when you tell their dirty laundry and you give people the truth.
Right. And the dirty laundry that you were sharing, this is related to the human body, the potential of the body, and
human body, okay. What they've been lying to us about, DUMBs, like some other things that I was like starting to open up, which weren't even a thing in society then. Nobody knew what DUMBs were. I
don't know what DUMBs are.
Deep underground military bases.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I definitely have heard quite a lot of speculation and going back and forth about this. Now, hey, look, I lived in Okinawa, I told you, for almost 10 years. So there's like 7 or 8 military bases officially, and then there's clearly squirrely bases out there too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in Southeast Asia, everybody knows. I've seen them on the runway on Kadena Air Base, unmarked planes land and take off. Like I've seen them with my own eyes when I was contracting. So,
yeah, and I lived in Las Vegas. What's right next door to Las Vegas? And to your point, EG&G, these planes, I don't even want to give the color to put me more on the radar, but these planes come in and out of Las Vegas, McCarran International. Most everybody doesn't even understand. Those are literally like their bus system to and from Area 51. So yeah, they didn't like that I was that close to home, letting out a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't have been talking about at that point.
Sure. All legal, though, I'm guessing. None of this under NDA and none of this under national security or anything from your
Yeah,
past?
at that point, obviously, what I was saying was fringe. They could have just discredited me and made me sound like a crazy person, type
Sure.
of thing. But apparently, I hit a nerve.
That's crazy to me that he identified himself in that way.
I know. I
So
know.
so out in the open, right?
That was
I
the
mean,
thing.
it's
I think when I think back on it, at that point in time, now having my military training and the psychological training that they put you through as well, that was a distraction for me as the shot was passed to me. It kind of broke my brain, just like you're thinking, like, why would you do that? I was stuck in the why would you do that? Yeah, thanks for the shot.
there's a little bit of a pattern interrupt,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Gave you pause. That makes
Look
sense.
over here, just like a magician while he's doing everything over here.
Yeah. What was the recovery like from being poisoned like that?
It was only a few weeks to get myself back to
Only a few weeks. Oh my, like only. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
only a few weeks to get myself kind of back to normal functioning. Of course, I was back home, but for 2-3 weeks, I was just I couldn't do anything. I was on the couch. I was just destroyed. I was sick all the time, so I had to rebuild the body profile again.
So while you're building the body profile in this manner for both of these experiences, I'm assuming the breath work and everything you've done is helping, or did that lead to the breath work? Do you
Well,
see?
that was part of it. Yeah, that was definitely part of it because at that point in time, I hadn't started training in the Eastern things before
Got
my
it, got
Western
it.
formal training. Yeah, so that was
Okay.
part of what led me that direction for sure.
Okay, understood. So tell me more about Willful Warrior.
Yeah, so I love it. It's amazing. Basically, what I've done, as I mentioned, is I've taken science and soul and meet them in the middle because they belong together. As we both know, and many people know, the yogis knew this stuff 7 to 10,000 years ago. Are you kidding me? We, as I mentioned, are still mostly theoretical in everything in neuroscience. Other than neuroanatomy and understanding neurons and the big pieces that we know, it's still highly theoretical on why your brain's doing that, how to fix your brain from doing that. And all these yogis knew it. So now every time there's some sort of breakthrough, an amazing client testimonial, it just again proves the things they knew and were teaching us in the ancient texts, as well as all the things I have experienced. So with the Willful Warrior, it's great because now, as a neuroscientist, I'm finishing up my master's in biomedical neuroscience and then moving directly into my doctorate of neurochemistry. It again brings that authority along with, right? And I don't say unfortunately anymore because it's just based on the program, but fortunately, I have the blessing to be able to tell people, hey, don't worry, I got a white coat on. I'm not just the woo-woo guy that's telling you do this thing and it's going to fix your energy and blah, blah, blah. No, I've got literal research studies and papers and all these other things to show actual trackable change inside of your entire system. And with the Willful Warrior, breath is a big piece of it. It really is. But more than anything, it's the ability to rewire your nervous system to literally dive in and shift absolutely everything about the programming for yourself. And the breath is the change mechanism for that.
What other mechanisms other than breath are there? Because you weren't doing the breath when you had your epiphany in the bed.
Right. Yeah. So meditation, obviously, is another really great mechanism. Just allowing yourself to fall into that awareness, again, find stillness, let the body manage everything, and you soften and ease into that, right? There's other things like yoga and qigong. So there are many mechanisms, many practices that can help you with that. But breath is just one of the most powerful and easily available.
Is that why you like to focus on it? Because it's one of those things like you could do it now. You could do it in
Yeah.
the car. You could do it at the bar when your boss yells at you. You could do it anytime ever. And it's just, there's no excuses at that point because we all have breath.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
use it accordingly.
Exactly. I'd love to run you through a 60-minute yin yoga practice right now, but you're at the board, meeting table. Use your breath, and then we'll talk later about the yoga.
Right. That makes total sense. It's available now. Same with the stillness internally, right?
Yeah.
So the book you're tell me about the book.
Yeah, so there's two of them actually. It's so funny because there's the Willful Warrior, the breath that brought me back, which is, you know, my whole story, the whole arc that happened there. And what we're thinking about doing is putting two of my best client testimonials in there. Both of them are MS patients that are literally turning their disease off like a switch, breaking their doctor's brains basically. So that's that book. The one I'm really focused on right now and working to get out by the end of July goes along with the ebook that I just released. It's a very short version of it, but it's called From Doing to Being. So literally the practice that I'm trying to help teach everybody. And the ebook for right now, since it's my dad's birthday, I left it for free until this weekend. So kind of like hey, it's the U.S.'s birthday too, 250 years. Like, why don't we just leave it free through the weekend before I put a price tag on it? Let people grab this right now as a resource. So yeah,
right. We'll definitely put that on there. Hey, I'll buy it too. I want to support. However, like I'll dive into that ebook. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, get it.
That's my get down right there. This type of stuff is like a guilty pleasure of mine in so many ways, because like a lot of what I do is business, and bought and sold a couple businesses, and I really enjoy that, and I like the hard work aspect. And if you ask my wife, I'm definitely a workaholic, 6 days a week, right? However, this is like such a guilty pleasure of mine, it's hard to put into words. Yeah. So I'm all in on it. And for me anyway, one of the best books ever written, not the most entertaining book ever written, is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yep.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
And it's so in depth and irrefutable in so many ways. And the way he breaks down the philosophy, through everything is just so unbelievable.
Yeah, so many moments when I read that one.
100%. It's definitely a book that you revisit, right? Yeah. And you reread it. And then for me, if I have a book I really, really like, I will, I'll buy the physical copy because I'm old school in that way, and I like to have it. But I also like to have the audio too. So then I'll revisit it with the audio, and then you get a totally different experience because it's not your own voice in your head. Now I'm listening to the narrator's voice. And if Joe didn't, he's a busy guy, I get it. But however, if it's the author's voice, right? So if you ever do your own audiobook, do your own.
I do.
Just do it.
I do.
Okay.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because to your point, I have made a vow to myself. No matter how big I get, I will be reading my books. Just like when you listen to a practice or a download that you grab from my website, you're going to hear me leading you through that. Unless you go to one of my facilitators who I'm now training, and we'll have so many of them coming up, you'll hear their voice, of course. But if you buy a practice, you buy one of my books, I don't care how big I am. I will always be the narrating voice. And in fact, on Monday, I released the audio version of the ebook that you're going to go grab.
Nice. Oh, I love it. I got to dive into that as well. Is that going to be on Audible?
No, it's just on my platform, and you'll be able to download MP3. The MP3 on your phone. Yeah.
Amazing. If it ever gets onto Audible too, please.
Eventually.
Right.
Eventually.
One step at a time. Step at a time. Well, talk to me here about, what happened with this? Because I know I saw a very brief clip of you talking about your car accident experience where you literally yelled out, I think, in the hospital, not again. What made you, okay, so first of all, tell me what happened. And then I want to know, what made you, other than the obvious, I don't want to relive a near-death experience, other than that, what made you shout that out in that manner?
Yeah. So, that the second time that I had the, experience with being poisoned had already happened. 2016 had rolled around. So by then, I was already a yoga instructor. By that point as well, Dad had died by suicide in 2016. And it just drove me even further into the work, right? It was a catalyst for me. It was like, hold on a minute. If he was in that much pain, I need to get the hell out there and share what I'm doing for myself. Look at the things I've overcome. Holy crap, I can't hide this information to myself. That's so greedy. Get out there and share this. So right around the time just before the car accident in 2018, I started a nonprofit called Willful, Warriors for Life America, where I was doing yoga and teaching somatic exercises to my veteran brothers and sisters. So that was actually when I had already, Willful Warrior was a baby concept, right? I was thinking of how do I want to structure this for-profit thing? How do I want to teach people this work on my side of things? So 2019, I had basically just, again, created the name. The method was already there, but the Welcome Home method had finally landed. And then 2019, while I'm making some extra cash as an Uber driver, to make sure that I can, sustain all these things. You know how you don't look at your phone, but a text message comes and you just look at the car screen really quick and then back to the road? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did that. It was a bleep, and I didn't look at the phone. I just looked at the car screen, and the moment I came back, I was like, oh, shit. And in the time I could say, oh, shit, headlights right in front of me, head-on car crash, blah. So, again, here I am in this flashbanged, like, wow, what in the hell just happened? I smelled gunpowder, and for a moment there I was like, hold on, did I just time travel back to the military? What the hell's happening right now? I smelled gunpowder. Why is my engine in the passenger seat? There's glass everywhere. This is weird. And when I finally came to, I recognized I had been in a head-on car crash. So, thankfully, the firefighter station was maybe a block and a half around the corner. They were there in 10 minutes, dude. I've never seen an ambulance or firefighter show up that quick after an accident. They were there on point, on time. Jaws of life, the door opened because, of course, everything was all crimped. Pull me out of the vehicle, and as he's helping me over to the ambulance and I'm out of the car, I fall to the ground because I can't move my legs. On the ground is when I tuned into the fact, hold on a minute. Oh, no. I can't feel anything below my hips. Are you kidding me right now? I literally just looked up. It was like, you gotta be shitting me, bro. Again. So yeah, that was the second one in 2019 as they're putting me on the gurney and into the ambulance. I wasn't like all the way, go F yourself, divine, but I was still having that conversation like, seriously, dude, what's up, bro?
What are we doing here? What is going on? What do you want from me?
Right?
Like that.
What are you trying to teach me here?
Right. Bruce Almighty in the rain, What do you want from me? Give me a sign, right? And of course the sign, the truck full of signs pull. That's how it goes, right? So for you then, what the heck? Like, where do you go from there? I mean, like
From there, they get me into the ambulance, and I experienced my righteous indignation, rightfully so. Like, I think I had been through enough by that point in time. Like, my Lord, can I just get an operation and not have to continue to fix the mess type of thing? But in the ambulance, something clicked in me. And that was when I started having that conversation like you just said, right? And I literally looked up and was like, what am I supposed to learn right now? What is this teaching me? What's happening right now that I'm experiencing this again? And that's when it clicked. Immediately, I was like, well, A, you don't have to worry about what the white coats tell you. You already know no matter what they fucking tell you, you're going to do your thing because you know how to do it. By that point in time, too, I had been introduced to Dr. Joe. My first book of his that I read was Becoming Supernatural. So I already had the pineal breath. I had, some of his meditations, all that good stuff. So it was at that point, before I even got to the hospital, it was basically like, game on. Let's go.
So this one was less of a revelation. This one was more of like a personal challenge that you took up with this situation. Like, okay, game on. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do this.
To your point, I look at it in the way of like the divine universe, whatever you classify it as, basically going, are you sure you want to do this? You're serious about this? Like, for real, this is what you want to do. All right, prove it to me.
Right. Emperor's New Groove, like, uh-oh. What do you mean, uh-oh? Let me guess. There's a huge waterfall coming up. Yeah. Sharp rocks at the bottom? Yeah. Bring it on. Right. That's what I picture here, where you're just like...
Exactly. That's a great one. I love it.
Let's do this. All right. Wow, that's wild to me, because, like, so many people don't experience a situation like that. and hardship breeds diamonds in so many ways, right? And you've gone through multiple, right? Multiple of these. Do you think that having, kind of like what you described earlier with SEER training just kind of picked up, like came to you and you were like, what am I doing? No, okay, take control, get involved. What are we doing? Do you think that having that ingrained within you in those pivotal years, late teens, when your brain is kind of starting, I think it's 25, when your brain like kind of it never solidifies. We know that now with plasticity. However, but like fully developed.
Right.
Like, and so do you think that was even now with all three of these different life-changing situations that you went through was pivotal for you to have gone through and the training associated with that in order to hit it head on?
Crucial. I don't think any of this would have happened if I didn't have the military training behind me, which is like one of those oxymorons when you think about the work we do, right? Like, there's no way you would think, go to the military, go through some of the worst shit you've ever experienced, break your neck, then you'll find the spiritual path. Like, yeah, it was crucial, absolutely crucial to your point.
Something that just popped in my mind that I probably should have asked earlier, so I hope it doesn't feel weird to circle back, but like, the person who flashed his military ID to you, you said he was an ally. He was a foreign ally. Mm-hmm. What is that? Not who is that, because I don't want to cause more problems here, just to be clear. But I mean, like, what is that? Like, why? I'm still kind of caught up on this. Like, why show that when you don't need to? And especially if it's a foreign nation. You're in the States at this time, you mentioned. So it's like you're on foreign soil. He was. Yeah. Right. So, like, what is that?
To me, again, A, distraction, and B, I let my guard down. Oh, you're one of me. Cool. It was a very easy, let me open the door so you can just walk right through.
Do you, I mean, like, from your perspective, do you think that was a foreign entity, foreign government? Do you think that was, again, you're right. We hire foreigners to do things that we can't do because we have this little document, this little hindrance called the Constitution, right? Yeah. So we would hate to violate our little hindrance here. Do you think that this was a foreign actor or foreign agent, or do you think that this was more internal and that was just like a whatever cover?
I think it was more internal because the ally I'm talking about, I'm sure people can kind of pick up on it, especially based on what you just said and what we wrote. Wink, wink. Yeah, they work together hand in hand, still, to this day. Like, we go into every battle we have been in since, like, Desert Storm, blah, blah, blah. They're right by our side. So, they work together.
Noted. That's wild to me. That's wild to me, and I don't want to put anybody... But, like, again... It's so successful of a distraction, I had to circle back here because I'm still hung up on, like, why? Yeah. Like, you don't have, like, you could still make your point. You probably would have taken the shot anyway. Yeah. Now, it's just, like, overkill, right, to me to be like, hey, look, check it out. I lived in Okinawa. Like, you know what I mean? I did Kadena Air Base. And you're like, well, why would you do that? Because that's
literally what was going through my brain. I was like, great, congratulations, you're an operator.
Right. Right.
Why are we talking about this?
Wow, that's nuts to me. That's super crazy. Well, you've taken a good, healthy mindset towards all three of these situations here, and you're developing. Did you say you have like 10,000 practitioners?
So I have, over tens of thousands of people practicing the breath work. Many of them come from the Dr. Joe community because, of course, for 5 years, I was studying his work, going to his retreats, even volunteering for him. So, wow. A lot of the Dr. Joe community came over.
Yeah. So you have this book coming up here. What else is coming up for you and the whole Willful Warrior community?
I love it. It's a great question. So we're right now, we're in the last month of my, the pièce de résistance, basically, of my work. It's a 12-week course called Awaken the Warrior Within. We're finishing up the last month of that, which allows me to walk you hand in hand through 4 of those 20 to 23-day cycles, allowing you to literally rewire your subconscious programming into something you want to experience. And funny enough, This is Healing Breathwork Fundamentals is one of my, just evergreen programs like Dr. Joe's. You can go on the website, buy it, download it, and all the information, the courses, the downloads, all built into it. But Awaken, I get to walk you through this process. And Awaken is where, after Awaken the Warrior Within, just a little over 12 months of practicing the breath work, Eugene, who has felt nothing below his belly button for 10 years, just walked up the stairs with help for the first time in 10 years. There it goes. I get that well up of emotion, man, thinking about it. He's now just, I think it was like a month ago, just messaged me and he's like, dude, I'm lifting my left leg without any assistance, not even my own assistance. They told me this wasn't possible. And then another one, Heather, MS, 24 years, turned her symptoms down, got rid of the MS fatigue, turned off the MS hugs. Anybody that has MS knows what an MS hug is. It's like, hard to breathe, right? So it's absolutely amazing to see this happening. And now what we're working into in September is facilitator training. So for me, it may be a lot for people to understand because, again, in a self-development world where we've all felt the post-COVID self-development hangover. We really have. Like, dude, I swear to Christ, you advertise another program, another course, I'm going to hang myself. Stop it. Like, we all feel it. We do, because they went heavy on us for those 2 years we were stuck in the house. However, the thing is right now with what's out there, and again, no poo-pooing on anybody's style, they're giving you a lot of really great information, but they're not teaching you how to build capacity in your body. You can only charge a battery to its capacity.
What do you mean by that? Capacity?
So, capacity meaning if you're not focused on your breath, if you're allowing the default mode network to keep you in an activated, overstimulated state constantly, like 70 to 80% of the Western world is, then you're not going to be able to repair and charge your body fully. So if you think of yourself like your phone, capacity of your phone is built on how much the battery can hold, right? Same thing with the body. We are a walking energetic system. And if we don't have enough capacity, if I am not getting sleep, I'm overstimulated all the time, I'm only able to charge the battery to about half, right? It's the same thing with your phone. Charge it to half and then expect it to run all day for you. It's not going to work. So with the work that we're doing, we're allowing people to actually build that capacity by removing allostatic load, removing cognitive load, removing the life maintenance load that we put on everything. So that's the big piece of this work, is allowing you to increase your capacity in just 12 weeks, which it's not that long.
Is that 3 months? Yeah. Wild, man. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up. I mean, Leland Holgate, like the toothpaste, Sr. Unbelievable, man. I mean, I could go on, and then I know we got a little bit of a hard stop not too long from now, but like, I could go on for a very long time.
Amen.
And ask deeper and more questions about both your experiences as well as the work that you're putting together. I mean, I could tell you right now, not in the near future, I want to do a part 2. That's for sure.
Let's do it.
Well, Leland, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great having this conversation with you.